MashaAllah. Brother asked a very good question. 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 Very important question. Brother Danny has asked a very good question. The sister asked a very good question. Brother asked a very good question. Brother asked a very good question. Sisters asked a very good question. Very common question. Very important question. Brother asking the question. Our Christian Filipino brother has asked a very good question. Brother Mahesh Mehta has asked a very good question. MashaAllah. Sister asked a very good question. Brother asked a very good question, a very common question. The brother has really asked a very good question on the topic. The brother asked a very good question. The brother asked a very good question and a very important question. The brother asked a very important question, a very relevant question. Brother asked a very good question. Brother asked a good question. Brother, you asked a very good question. Sisters asked a very good question. Sisters asked a good question. Brother asked a very good question. Sister asked a very good question. Brother Mahesh Kumar has asked a very good question. Brother asked a good question. The brother asked a very good question, very important question. Brother asked a very good question. He asked a very good question. Sister asked a very good question. It's a very good question. The brother again has picked up a very important issue. The brother asked a very good question, very important question, very relevant question. The brother asked a very good important question. Sister asked a very good question.
Thank you.
It's a very good question. Brother asked a very good question. Brother asked a very good question.
Or justification,
Brother asked
sir?
a very good question. Sister asked a very good question. Brother asked a very good question, and I give you the right to cross-question me after the answer. The brother asked a very good question and a very intellectual question. It's a very good question. The brother has asked a very good question. The brother asked a very good question. The brother asked a very good question, a very relevant question to the topic. I'd like to thank him. The brother asked a very good question. Hope that answers the question, brother.